Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs Podcast, presented by Toyota and Bet365. King Tuck goes deep, and then he goes out. Back-to-back wins against the Braves. How does number 80 sound to you? CHGO Cubs next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs Podcast, driven by Toyota. Let's go places and Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Use code CHGO at sign-up. Luke Stuckmeyer, Joey Christopoulos with you, and Steven running the ones and twos. And that's right, your Cubs win 4-3 over the Braves. That's back-to-back against the Braves, and it appears the Cubs will win more than 83 this year, because that is win number 80 already, with, I believe, 23 games to go in the season. Before we get to the show, and we will talk about Tucker and the injury and the homer and Palencia and Shota and all the things that are important in this game, we want to tell you about something really important to us here at CHGO tonight. I want you to think about your favorite athlete and then realize that every single one of them had a coach, a mentor, or a family member who believed in them first. Somebody who saw their potential and then gave them the confidence to go for it, right? And that happens throughout life for a lot of us, in no matter what you're doing. That's where big brothers and big sisters, that's what they do every single day, okay? They create those life-changing connections for kids in our community. So for the entire month of September, here at CHGO, we are partnering with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America to help fund their mission. Your donation ensures another child gets a mentor, a role model, a champion in their corner. You can be that champion. So if you're watching us on YouTube tonight, we appreciate that. You can donate directly by hitting the donation button right on your screen. It's the little logo down there in the corner. If you're listening on the podcast, please head to bbbs.org/ALLCITY. Let's help ignite the potential of the next generation. Again, for our podcast listeners, that's bbs.org/ALLCITY. We appreciate anybody that can afford to make a donation and is willing to make a donation. The future is important.
I needed a big brother, big sister tonight with Palencia walking the plank with runners on base tonight.
Oh, man, yeah.
But, no, the Chicago Cubs picked up a huge win. Unbelievable program that we're partnered with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. We cannot recommend it enough. So if you don't want to maybe necessarily get involved or want to be interested, you could check out their website. I think what we talked about big today with the CEO, Jeremy Foster, that came in, that if you're saying to yourself, wow, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't have the time right now. That doesn't mean that you can't, learn a little bit more about what they do, because maybe one day you will find the time. Or if you pitch in $1 or $2, you can help a great cause continue its great mission. So
yeah, there's no donation that's too small.
Yes,
like it all adds up, and it all goes to a great cause, and hopefully we can help out our littles, as we like to call them, right?
That's what you call me around the office.
Sure.
Fetch me that, you little.
No, I never say that. That is not true.
Where are my cookies, he says. Cubs win.
Sparky. I might say Sparky sometimes. I don't. Hey, he brought cookies today. Rally cookies. They worked. Cubs had a 4-0 lead in this game.
Yep.
And right down to the final pitch, we were a little nervous. I still believe, again, Brewers didn't play today. Division is over in my eyes. I've said that for weeks. Division is over. But it's 5 games now with like 23 to play. It just seems very unlikely. I wouldn't even worry yourself about it unless something crazy happens down the final stretch. I just haven't seen that type of run in the Cubs all season. What we did see tonight, again, was encouraging. Like, Kyle Tucker's kind of riding that roller coaster, right? He was 0 for 5, I believe, yesterday against the Braves. Today he comes back, and it looks like he's in a home run, but it's pulled, foul. Then he turns around and he takes it opposite field. I couldn't believe the stat when they said that's his first opposite field home run this season. Hard to believe. But to see it go from pull home run to oppo home run, you're feeling good about things, and then we'll get to the injury. But let's try to be positive at the beginning and talk about, okay, he had that. He had a single later in the game. That's the type of stuff we're looking for.
Yeah, and when you just talk about that sequence specifically, when you want to try and talk yourself into Kyle Tucker is not only back, but Kyle Tucker is back to stay, I thought that was actually a really important moment, because if you've ever played the game of baseball before, even at like the lowest level, you yank a ball, back in the day, and literally you'd yank it into the parking lot. That means you're ahead of the pitch, and you're ahead of the pitch by a lot, and you're also looking to try and pull the ball. Kyle Tucker had the sense within the sequence of that at bat to slow it down, let the ball get a little bit deeper. And as you said, his first opposite field home run of the season, with honestly the kind of caliber hitter that he is, you wouldn't necessarily ascribe him to a pull-only hitter. We immediately said, is this like an Isaac Paredes type stat? And he's still going to hit some balls to center and right center, but obviously it was really great to see him go oppo. My hope is when we're talking about the injury, that we're talking about this in the precautionary level at its very worst, because he came out of the game an inning after supposedly hurting it on that slide. So you hate to see it. Maybe you have to sit down, Kyle Tucker for a day or two, but that's why you have Kevin Alcantara up and other outfielders, and you just got to kind of make do.
He's just got a lot of stuff going on.
It's
starting to add up, and if I wasn't concerned about him before with the hand fracture and also fouling the ball off his knee, and then he slid funny in a second, he kind of hurt his knee. This is apparently a calf, which I guess could be the slide, or it could be pushing off to run to second base. Either way, I don't love a guy that's got a sore knee, a sore calf, a sore hand, and we need him to be a superhero for like the next 60 days, hopefully.
It's concerning, but if you're going to have some of these issues, if you are going to maybe pull up a little bit tight with a calf, you do want it happening on September 2nd, right? You don't want it happening on September 22nd, or even worse, October 2nd. And there have been some glimpses where I think about a month ago when we were talking about the problems that Kyle Tucker was having production-wise, I think we also could point at a lot of different culprits in the lineup. And thankfully, we have at least seen Ian Happ specifically the last couple of days, Nico Horner at the top of the lineup. Carson Kelly yesterday had a really nice day at the plate.
Oh, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, at least there's some players that are beginning to hopefully get you to be able to wrap your head around that they can produce if Kyle Tucker does have to sit down for a day or two. And hopefully, again, it is very precautionary. And we'll probably get some more information as the night goes along and into the day. But I probably wouldn't anticipate him in the lineup tomorrow. And that's okay, and hopefully they take it day by day. I guess the thing that is a bummer is you just kind of got him back into a rhythm at the plate. So sitting him down for 48, 72 hours might not be the best medicine in terms of where he is rhythm-wise at the plate right now.
About a half hour ago, the pitch doctor, Brendan Miller, now just known as the doctor,
yes,
because he knows everything, said in 2017, our guy Brendan said, Chris Bryant left a game in the 8th inning due to calf tightness, but missed no games. Hopefully Tucker avoids missing games after leaving tonight with the right calf. Very interesting.
I hear calf, I think Achilles, Luke. So that's where I get really scared with that.
How could you?
Well, when we just dealt with Jamison Tyone had a calf strain, and that put him down for a month. Different position. I totally understand that. But you got to be careful with these things. And I'm hoping that maybe he slid a little funny. He got up and said, maybe I feel a little tight. I mean, Steven, our producer, said maybe it could possibly be a cramp. Try to play through it. Obviously played another inning without actual incident. No one had footage of him limping around on the field, and they decided to take him out. So hopefully this is just getting ahead of it type situation, because you do finally have Kyle Tucker playing reminiscent like Kyle Tucker right now.
I'm with our guy Steven in the live YouTube chat here at the all-new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a total stranger.
Hit the like button.
And hit the like button. Steven says Tucker should sit tomorrow because there's no game on Thursday. This is my hope for the Chicago Cubs and Kyle Tucker. Can we make this real clear? You mishandled the situation with the broken/fractured hand. I don't care that he played pretty well in June, and then it didn't start to impact him until he started affecting his swing in July. It was mishandled. He should have sat earlier. You should have forced him to sit. Don't make that mistake now. I've said it again. I don't care if they catch the Brewers. I don't believe they're catching the Brewers. I believe the Cubs are a playoff team. I don't think that's in jeopardy. Get Kyle Tucker 100%. If that means he sits the rest of the week, fine. If that means he goes to the IL and you bring back Casey, also fine with me. The most important thing right now is that Kyle Tucker doesn't have a lingering calf issue along with a lingering hand that's almost fully. Just get him right. Get him healthy and enough time to get back on track before the end of the regular season. They're going to the postseason. That's happening. So now handle with care. Fragile.
Well, and that's the part that gets, I think, the contrast or the differentiations when we talk about this wild card, now that there's 3, I think it can sometimes be a little deceiving for Cubs fans, where we do have to understand that when you're talking about the playoffs and the postseason, we are 9 games up for that 3rd spot in the wild card. We're 5 games up for the 3rd spot just to stay in it.
Now, I'd like to be the top wild card.
Now, of course, now the better baseball that we played over the last week, it does have us back into that top 4 Major League Baseball record conversation, which maybe helps with whoever your first round opponent is going to be, whether it is the wild card. But again, I'm steadfast in this. I'm with you, man. I don't care about the division. I want to get this Cubs team right. And right now, a new thing that we just added to the list is Kyle Tucker's left calf. And that's something that if it has to take a couple days and take a little bit of time, that is fine. You also have this stretch where they're playing below 500 teams. I was personally walking into this series, the Atlanta Braves scare me a little bit because they have a lot of talent up and down that lineup. And we saw it tonight between Olsen and Acuna and Albies. I mean, of course, the great Eli White goes deep. but again, I walked into it a little bit scared about this matchup in this series, and they've won the first 2 games. I think if you can hold water and tread water, which we all know, Cubs fans, the Cubs have been doing that for about a month now, so that's not going to be anything new. If you can tread water the next 3 or 4 or 5 days and get Kyle Tucker back in the lineup as healthy as you can, I still think you're in great shape. I know that we want to start the playoffs tomorrow. The playoffs are not starting tomorrow. It's still a month away, and you want to make sure you're playing your best baseball and be as healthy as you possibly can as a collective team when the bell rings in October. We're still not at that point right now, so we have plenty of time to sit him and just let him recoup and hopefully clear and check all the boxes, doctors-wise.
Steven also had a Toyota super chat for us saying he believes Tucker's right field defense is becoming problematic for $2. We appreciate the super chat, Steven. We've both agreed on this, that we thought we were going to get a really, really good defensive player in right field.
Yes.
He's more like a good right fielder, which is usually not a great outfielder. Like, I've seen some things that I say, okay, that's not Jason Hayward in right.
He's able-bodied.
Defensively, that's not Jason Hayward in right. That much I can say.
He has the athleticism. He's able-bodied. What I have noticed is he doesn't necessarily have the instincts of a Gold Glove outfielder like Jason Hayward. Yesterday's play is a great example where I think a lot of people are trying to give Kyle Tucker a hard time about it. And I will say that on its face, I think he took a really bad angle. You could see him kind of drifting to his right when he should have been driving in on it. But again, does he have those type of instincts to really go after that middle ball in the outfield like that? And then you have a wild stallion like PCA out there. And maybe he's thinking to himself, is my cleat going to end up in his temple?
Right.
Because PCA is going to dive head first. Could be a communication issue.
You're going real dark with a lot of stuff tonight. Very dark.
I'm just saying. I'm just worried.
Cleat to the temple.
Well, he flashed it for a second. Or you don't want the two heads smashing together either, like in a Naked Gun movie or anything. So, I think Kyle Tucker is an average to above average left fielder. I think the Gold Glove was a bit of an oversell, in my opinion. And we're realizing that, and I don't think it's the worst thing in the world.
I just know there's a lot of people in the chat, finally, for once in my life, agreeing with me that Tucker should sit until he's healthy. Steven gave us another super chat saying Tucker looks like he's protecting himself for free agency. No, I honestly, what I think it is...
I disagree.
I think it's one, instincts a little bit. I think it's two, Wrigley is a really hard and weird right field, although this has also happened on the road. And number three, I would protect myself, too, if I had a fractured hand, a sore knee, and now a slow, a calf muscle that's not feeling. He's probably not feeling great. I'm not making excuses for him, but if all three of those things were wrong with me, I wouldn't even make it in to do a podcast.
And I know we're coming up on a break, but just really quick, when you're playing the outfield, one of your main objectives is to keep the ball in front of you. So I understand when you're PCA, you can dive head first and try and make a diving catch. You do have to make a calculated decision at some point of whether I'm going to lay up and keep the ball in front of me, or I'm going to sell out to try and catch a ball and risk having that ball roll all the way back to the wall. So I just disagree with the concept that Kyle Tucker is a bad outfielder. Is he a Gold Glove outfielder? No, there's somewhere in the middle on that, and I'm okay with that.
We're going to take a quick break in a second, but first ask you in the chat, hey, what did you think of PCA sitting today? Let us know in the chat. We'll get to you in a second. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Hey, Cubs fans, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. We got Chicago Cubs baseball every single day, so you should be using Bet365. And hey, Bears fans, we got something for you too. It's called the Football Early Payout. You're a winner if your team goes up by 17 points with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. You download the app, use code CHGO365 when you sign up, and you could double your winnings on parlays with Bet365. 100% parlay boost. Download that app. So here's what you got to do. Head on over. Use code CHGO. You get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. So sign up. Use that code again. CHGO365. Deposit 10, place a bet for $5 to get $200. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment. Never ordinary. Bet365 must be 21 plus or older. If you know someone that has a gambling problem, crisis counseling, referral services, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Remember, in-app only.
Bears going up by 17. Sounds good. Hey, coaches, listen up. If you're looking for more athletes to train, Eye on the Ball is where you need to be. It's simple. You create your profile, upload your background check, and boom, you're in. For just $50 a month or $500 for the whole year, athletes of all ages and all sports can find you directly. Here's the best part. Eye on the Ball doesn't mess with your schedule, your payments, or your business. You're in full control. Just connecting you with athletes, ones that are already looking for you in this business. You're in full control. They just want to connect with athletes and coaches. So if you're ready to grow your coaching business, reach more athletes, go check it out right now. EyeOnTheBall.net. That's EyeOnTheBall.net. Don't wait, because the athletes are already there looking to find you. And that's the key. Business is sitting there on a platter waiting for you, coaches.
Reach out and grab it.
Waiting for you.
Go get it.
All right, welcome back. Cubs win 4-3. By the way, if you haven't noticed, the Cubs are undefeated in the month of September. Undefeated in the month of September.
Sammy Sosa, Derek Lee month. Undefeated.
We were talking a lot about Kyle Tucker, his home run, his base hit, and then his calf injury, which had him leave the game tonight. Taylor McGregor has updated from Wrigley Field tonight saying, Craig Counsell says Tucker will indeed not play tomorrow. They'll give him the off day on Thursday and tomorrow. Then they're going to see how it responds by Friday, but they're going to be cautious about it. Okay, so exactly what we wanted to hear them say.
You know what's interesting about that?
Exactly what we wanted to hear.
Because we've been like Zapruder filming like Kyle Tucker's injuries and what he says and what he doesn't say. Craig Counsell during the whole thing of they need to sit him down. I like that Craig Counsell is just coming right out.
Not playing tomorrow.
Not playing tomorrow. No, Kyle, do not come into my office. Do not knock on my door. Do not text me. Do not Slack me. Do not send me a letter. You're not playing tomorrow, okay? And we're going to give you those 2 days and reevaluate. So at the very least, I do like a little bit of Craig trying to get out in front of that and just sit him down the lineup, see where he's at. Hopefully he feels good on Friday, and he'll be back in.
Now, should we read between the lines? Is this the Cubs actually being smart about handling Kyle Tucker in an injury,
from the error of their ways?
Do they know this is worse than we think, and that's the only reason? I hope it's that they've learned from previous experience with Kyle Tucker injuries.
Well, and on top of it, too, the Cubs also have a nasty habit of letting their starters deal with an injury for 4, 5, 6 days at a time when you can simply just IL the player, bring somebody
Dansby
back
last
up.
year?
Yeah, Dansby.
You mean Nico at a time last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over and over again. And why burn a roster spot? I understand that rosters have been expanded, so that shouldn't really be that big of an issue. But if you have a guy that's going down, if it's 4 or 5 days, what is a couple extra days after that? If it means that Kyle Tucker comes back healthy and ready to roll September 15th or whatever the number may be. Now, the interesting thing was going into this game, the Cubs were 0 for 3 in the month of September. 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 0 for 3 in the month of September.
it wasn't Tucker that was sitting, right? It was PCA this time.
Yeah.
And before the game, Craig Counsell talked about, well, we've really tried to get him some time off. Like he's in there all the time because his defense is such a game changer. It has such an impact on everything we do that we just haven't been able to get him out. And he said they'd been eyeing this game as an opportunity. Then I was wondering if it was going to be a 2-day thing with a day off coming up, so he would get 3 in a row off with the day off on Thursday. But now will that be adjusted if that was the plan with Tucker out? I don't know, but it was fascinating to see that PCA was out against a lefty. They have greatly struggled against. He has struggled against lefties. Yeah. And Alcantara, who was just called up, was in. And remember, Alcantara was a guy who was bashing left-handed pitching at the minor league level at AAA. So then the wheels started spinning in the cobwebs of my head, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. Is this becoming – has PCA started to struggle enough against left-handed pitching that MVP is becoming close to becoming platoon Pete down the stretch? Like, before I ask that question to you, I answer it this way. If Alcantara comes out and starts crushing left-handed pitching, that might be a possibility. Not a full game, but at the beginning of the game, that it could be a possibility.
It's going to be a bit of a balancing act. Now, the Cubs coming into today's game, you're right, against left-handed pitching, it has not worked out against them. Of all the teams right now that are in position to make the playoffs, there are only 2 teams that have a below 500 record against left-handed starting pitching this year. It's the Philadelphia Phillies and the Chicago Cubs. They picked up a win today. It makes them now 18-19 against left-handed starters. So it isn't just a PCA problem. It's a bit of a whole lineup problem. They even ran some of the OPS numbers before the game with some of the right-handed hitters, and there's 3 or 4 guys that have an over 800 OPS, and that's great news. I think the thing that you're going to have to pay attention to moving forward, and we've talked about this on a previous show, is that let's just take Michael Busch, for example, and I'm not trying to change the subject, but Michael Busch in a playoff game is going to have to face left-handed pitching, whether it's starter or reliever. I want Michael Busch in the lineup in a playoff game. I think Craig Counsell wants his best players in the lineup in a playoff game. So I understand that maybe you could give PCA a little bit more of a blow, give him more of the Michael Busch, Justin Turner treatment at times over only the next week or so, the next 2 weeks, because I think once the calendar turns to September 20th, I don't think it matters anymore. I think you just got to start rolling this lineup out and just saying, these are my guys, and this is what I have to have. What stinks about PCA is that if you look at his splits month by month, he has been by far the most consistent Cubs hitter that we've had all year long. I mean, he's got home runs, he's got power, he drives and runs every single month except for the month of August. Hit 165. I mean, really bad. Really, really tough numbers. So can they get we get on the chair and we lean back, we talk psychology all the time about PCA, and this is another moment of can they unlock him, and does sitting him down for a day, giving him a blow help? I don't know.
Ooh, it's interesting. Keep this discussion in mind for later in the podcast when we talk who's hot, who's not, who do you want hot?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I like that.
Everybody?
That's really
I just
good.
created that in my head. That's pretty good, huh? For an old guy this
Who's
late
hot,
at night,
who's not,
You
who
still
do
got
want?
it. You still
got it. It's all the cookies I had earlier. Vince with one of our Toyota Super Chats, $4.99
thanks,
says, wait a minute, you win tomorrow. Brewers drop 2 more against Philly, which is a real possibility. You're only 3.5 back. Division's not over yet, and you have the tiebreaker. See, there's the positivity.
Okay.
Vince is a captain positive. I've started to lean a little more captain negative in my life sometimes, the older I get.
Vince,
I believe it's over.
Vince, I love, the Super Chat. And I love that you're in the chat. Thank you very much. I love the optimism. And I'm not dissuading people from feeling that way. My question then to Vince and other people in the chat is, if you believe that the division is still up for grabs and the Cubs go for it, or the Cubs get close and they follow a couple games back, what does that mean to you as a Cubs fan? if the Cubs fall short by a couple of games, and again, they win their 94, 95-ish games, and they finish 2 games back of the Brewers, personally, I don't care. And I'm not going to view it as some kind of failure. So I'm all for the optimism. I'm just kind of asking Cubs fans, don't make that into some sort of expectation or some kind of pedestal that will then disappoint you if they don't track down this division, because math just simply isn't on their side. If they fall short and they're playing great baseball and then we make noise in October, that's all I really care about. So I love the optimism, but ask yourself the follow-up question. If they do fall short, is it going to bum you out? Is it going to ruin your day? Because it won't ruin mine.
I mean, I think we can agree that this is very likely at least a 90-win team.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, they're at 80 now. They got at least 10 more wins in them.
They're 22 over?
I think 90 was my preseason prediction because it was the year I graduated high school, if you're all keeping track at home.
Interesting.
Full
circle moment.
Yeah, I believe that was my reasoning for it.
Well, 90 is 18 over 500, which they're over right now.
If you'd have told me they were going to win 90 games at the beginning of the season, I would have been very happy with it. I believe they will now probably be over 90 wins because they're better than a 500 baseball team. We'll see how it goes. There's just a lot of different tiny questions that we're trying to figure out here over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? I wasn't expecting PCA and thinking, is that a possible platoon? I didn't think that was ever a possibility. But the more he struggles, if they have somebody that can actually mash against lefties, maybe it's a possibility. Maybe Kyle Tucker's calf takes that completely out of the question. I don't know. But I never considered it before like a week ago.
Yeah, and what's really frustrating, too, is you see PCA hit that bomb off of Kenley Jensen in Anaheim. And as a Cubs fan, you had to have said to yourself, here we go. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, not only did he lock into that one, but he, launched that one, out of Anaheim all the way down to, Tijuana. That ball was absolutely toasted. And you said to yourself, maybe that was that moment where you lock in, click on something, you barrel up a baseball, and then you can replicate that type of production. It just simply hasn't really come to fruition like that. We still need PCA's defense. We still need his base running. Yesterday's game, we want to talk about Kyle Tucker and PCA misplaying a ball. PCA scores from first base. There's no one else on our team in the National League or maybe in the entire Major League Baseball that can actually do that, other than maybe a Corbin Carroll and a couple of other players. So there's plenty of ways that PCA can affect the game, and I also would want to impress that upon PCA, that I understand you're not doing it at the plate right now and you get frustrated and you slam your helmet down, but at the same time, there's so many other ways that help you that you can do to help us win ball games. You don't have to be the solution. You just have to be an ingredient that goes into the solution towards winning games. And that's a lesson that a young player probably has to learn a little bit. And we'll see. They sat PCA, what was that, a month ago? But then Craig brought him into the 6th inning.
Yes.
And he immediately had a bad bunt, and you know what I mean? He K'd and didn't really do good things that impacted the game of winning baseball. And this one, he sat him, and of course brought him in the 9th inning, I understand, but didn't really put him into any sort of high-end situation. I'm curious to see if he's in the lineup tomorrow, and if you're the chat, jump in. Do you want to see PCA tomorrow, or do you think giving him one more day plus the Thursday day maybe gives them that reset?
Well, which one is more important to the Cubs right now? Right? If that was, let's say the plan was off tonight, off tomorrow, off Thursday. So you get the 3-day treatment just like Tucker did.
Yep.
Which I'm not against. If that was the plan, does it change? Because this game, now you need him to play center field because you need to have an extra outfielder because of Tucker, yada, yada, yada. Which one's more important? The 3 days rest for PCA, if that's the best way to fix him? Or is it getting him right back in there and potentially sweeping the Braves or not? I don't think he's a platoon guy. I think this is more realistically about rest. I don't think he's a platoon guy because of the things you said. The catch that he made yesterday, the first to home from yesterday, the way he runs the bases, he can impact the game so many different ways. You gotta ride with your Stallions to the bitter end. Even if they're struggling against left-handers almost all season, you got to ride with them. This team's going nowhere without a hot Tucker and a hot PCA, period.
And also just really quick with that, too, when you think about just PCA in the marathon, it's not a sprint. Again, if you can somehow get him right in the next 48 to 72 hours, I know it's frustrating this Cubs season, your Cubs team hasn't ripped off 8, 9, 10 wins in a row. They haven't gotten white hot. They haven't been the talk of baseball at times because they just win 2 out of 3 every single time. You've already won this Brave series. If you give them one more day and try and scratch out another win, great. If not, and you get PCA back the way that we believe, if we get MVP back by somehow giving him a 72-hour blow, I'm willing to take that risk, especially if it means him not being in tomorrow's lineup.
Next question for our chat here at the all-new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. Is Palencia still your closer the rest of the way, and more importantly, in the postseason? Answer that question while we take a quick time out for our sponsors. Hey folks, I've been paying property taxes in Cook County for more than 20 years now. I have the battle scars to prove it. Overpaying for property taxes is something way too many Cook County residents are still doing, and you don't have to be one of them. In Cook County, the appeals window will vary by township, close rapidly. They're very difficult to win, so let Own Well's experts ensure that you're prepared for when it counts. Sign up in less than 3 minutes. In Cook County, Own Well has a 25% contingent fee, meaning you only pay if your property taxes are reduced, and 86% of Own Well's customers receive a reduction. No upfront costs. Savings or free guarantee. Only pay if you save. Save money on your property taxes in Cook County with Own Well. Sign up in less than 3 minutes. Start your appeal today at ownwell.com/cook. That's OWNWELL.com/cook.
Hey, Luke, you know that moment when you realize you left your favorite sunglasses on the beach? We all have had that moment.
Yeah.
When you leave them on the roof of your car.
Buzzkill.
The gas station, in between the couch cushions. You sit on them, you squish them, you ruin them. I've been there too. I've been buying $2 sunglasses my whole life because I ruin them every single time. But then I found Shady Rays, and it changed the game. These sunglasses, they are made for real life, and seriously, they are good looking, polarized, durable, and not stupidly expensive. And here's the wild part. If you lose or break them like I do all the time, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair, no guilt trip, just replacements. So now I actually wear my sunglasses without fear. On hikes, at concerts, on the boat, indoors like a weirdo. Whatever you want to do, go for it. Shady Rays is eyewear that has your back. So when you're teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer, head to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The Shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Yeah. All right, Cubs win 4-3. Don't forget, by the way, that all month long we're teaming up with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America. If you're able and you can donate, we would appreciate it. We're trying to help out Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. It's a little handshake button at the bottom of your screen. And we'll be reminding you kind of throughout the month. We appreciate it, and we think it's for a great cause. And if you're doing podcast formats, go to bbs.org/ALLCITY. Hey, we were talking about PCA, and before that, of course, we were talking about Tucker, the home run, the injury. Bruce Levine also tweeted out he talked to Tucker. So we had Taylor McGregor saying he's not playing tomorrow. That's Craig Counsell.
That must have been a very loud conversation. 2 loud-voiced men.
Yes.
Bruce Levine and Kyle Tucker going at it.
Bruce says Kyle Tucker said he'll see how the calf strain feels tomorrow before he gets concerned. Tucker said he felt something in the calf the last few days.
Fun.
Pause for my anger, and I move on.
That's maturity.
You see that? How I get angry? He was 0 for 5 yesterday. But now he has the home run. So it's all maddening. I don't know that it has anything to do with anything. It just makes me angry. I know guys feel something every single day, but right now I don't want Kyle Tucker trying to play through something. I just want him healthy and heroic.
Yes.
As a fan, I want to see healthy, heroic Kyle Tucker more than I want to see perseverant, fight through it, play every day Kyle Tucker. Maybe that's what the Cubs are telling him right now. Maybe that's why they're saying tomorrow, no. You're at least gonna have 2 days off.
Yeah.
Wednesday and Thursday.
And it's starting to stack up a little bit. So I'm having a hard time. I'm with you, right? Like we all get super meatball when your best player, any player, honestly, kind of grits through an injury and can be part of a formula that helps you win, or at least get out there to show the other guys that, hey, I'm giving it 100%, and I'm willing to do what it takes to put my body on the line for a team to win and all that jazz. But if it's starting to stack up a little bit, at what point do you kind of start asking yourself, either as the player or the training staff or as the manager, one, do all these injuries have anything in common, which I personally do not know, and that's their job to sort of figure out. Is the leg bone connected to the hip bone, that kind of thing. And then the other one is you just also want to be careful, because the more little maladies and the more little nicks and scrapes that you have, that can't open up the door to a major injury. And I'm not going to use the A word again. That's connected to the calf muscle.
No, don't. And don't mention the spikes to the temple of the head either.
Well, he thought about it. It flashed through his mind. But look, if he's been feeling it the last couple of days, and he clearly said something and he took himself out of the game. My hope is this is a little bit of a different story than the fractured hand or maybe him slamming the ball off his knee, is that he's feeling something, he's saying something. The training staff and the manager are looking at it. They're deciding to take him out of the game. Out of precautionary measures, they're immediately sitting him the next day. It's not a wake up and see how you feel. So I'm hoping some of this are the baby steps of learning from those mistakes that I agree with you have been completely mishandled throughout the month of July and in early August. And now in September, they're trying a more cautious approach. And I'm just hoping and praying, because he's our best player and our best hitter, that it works.
Another Toyota Super Chat, this time from KM, says Cubs need to win 8 of their next 10 games. 8 of their next 10 games. I think Cam's talking about still trying to chase down maybe the division.
Okay.
I would suggest this. If you're trying to actually catch the Brewers, you definitely have to win 8 of your next 10 games. And it might be a higher number
at
than
least.
That.
Yes.
Because I don't expect the Brewers to be plummeting that poorly. Even though they have, they got some games against the Phillies and whatever. More on that postseason stuff in a second. You know what? Let's do it right now. I heard Spiegel and Holmes on the way in just for a little bit today on the Score coming in, and they had a topic that's been spinning around in my head the last 10 days, and they verbalized it. They said it, and I said, okay, so I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one thinking this. When the playoffs start and the Cubs are in it,
yeah,
is Palencia your closer for sure? And I don't want anybody to misunderstand this. I love Daniel Palencia. I think he's done a great job. He's the guy I really want to be my closer. And I think he's grabbed the job and taken it. But like most closers, he's through a patch right now where he's creating a little anxiety in the fan base sometimes, a la tonight, where it's not just bang, 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 game over, sing the song. It's more like hiccup, sigh, hold your stomach, and
pitching
bang,
non-visit.
Okay, sing the song, right? Like there's been a few bumps in the road. And if there weren't a guy like Brad Keller hanging around that's been so good all season long, I would 100% say he's still my closer when the playoffs start. But if this trend were to continue for the next 2 weeks, and I got to the point where I'm in the playoffs, but I don't feel great about the way Palencia is not quite controlling the 101 fastball. He's hanging that slider that doesn't move a lot, a little bit over the plate. Could I see a point where Brad Keller, who's been a godsend, like unbelievable to the bullpen this year, all the way from spring training, could I see a time where he is the closer? Maybe. But I think the real answer is, even now, if I were in a playoff game tonight against the Padres, the guy I want to see pitching, I'm not worried about the ninth inning. I'm worried about the most important outs of the game. Like Joe Madden used to talk about. Think about, that could come in the 8th inning. That could come in the 7th inning. That's who I want Keller pitching against.
Yes.
And if that happens to be the last 3 outs of the game, that happens to be the last 3 outs of the game. I'm not saying Palencia is not the closer. I'm just saying if I have a triangle of trust, as I tried to say, because everybody else does the circle of trust. I like the triangle of trust.
Triangle is a beautiful shape.
Or the trust tree, whatever you prefer to grow. I have Keller at the top of that list, not Palencia.
Yeah.
I trust Keller more than anybody on this team to get one of those late outs.
He's the cheat code, right? Or
Yeah.
like in Super Mario 3, he's like the whistle to another land. Like he'll get you out of any situation at any point in the game. And I couldn't agree with you more. Where, walk with me on this one, where Daniel Palencia is still your ninth inning guy. Mm-hmm. But if there was a door over there and you had to open it and say, I'm going to put you into the toughest position in the game and I need your pitcher to go out and get 3 outs, I'm hitting Brad Keller. And I think you want that versatility. And I think once you get into the nitty-gritty where you're trying to cover those last 9 outs, the versatility of Brad Keller, that he can come in and face that, as you said, the 3, 4, 5 in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning, I think you want to have that optionality. And I also think you want, get ready for this, I could also see him getting 4 or 5 out saves in a playoff game. I mean, we saw it a little bit last week where Brad Keller had such a beautiful, clean inning of 8 or 9 pitches, and they brought him out, and I understand that that's a workload thing, and he did his job and move on. If that's an October playoff game and he gets through an inning at 8 or 9 pitches, I promise you he's coming out for the next one. And I don't think this is some sort of sacred, Daniel Palencia has been around for forever, so if he loses the closer's role, what does this mean for his standing in the organization? No. He's a young player who's done a great job this year, and I like him in that 9th inning, but I would also prepare yourself that Brad Keller should face the toughest or most challenging parts of the lineups late in games, in close games, and that's the guy who I want to see in that spot. And I think it gives Craig a little bit more of a freedom, where it doesn't feel like, last year, it's Hector Neris' 9th inning, or earlier this year, it's Ryan Presley's role. He's the veteran. Give him the ball in the 9th inning. I think sometimes you can be a little bit more of selling a service to the veteran or a role more than what we need at the time. And this gives Craig the freedom to say, I want to keep Brad Keller in the game, or I want Brad Keller to pitch the 8th, or I want Brad Keller to pitch the 9th. And it doesn't have to do so much with Daniel Palencia. And look, real quick, Daniel Palencia has been awesome this year, right?
Yeah.
And he's come back to earth just a little bit, and maybe he can find it again. But that's kind of where I'm landing, is I'm right with you. Brad Keller is the most important part of this bullpen moving forward. And if it means he's closing games, it's fine by me.
If you have to put a label on it, Palencia is your closer.
Yes.
I just don't see a scenario in a postseason game. This is why I
Keller's
say
your stopper, or you know what I mean? Like, we come up with
I don't
words.
see a scenario in the postseason, but maybe I'm wrong, where it's bases loaded in the 7th inning. The game is on the line here. I don't see a scenario where you take Palencia and jam him into that situation. Yes. That doesn't happen, but I can see the flip role where you might need Keller late. You know what I mean? Like, I can see, that's why I believe Keller's the most important guy in the bullpen, because he's that guy where I want him no matter if it's the 7th, it's the 8th, if it's 1 out in the 9th, whatever that might be. I think you're calling Palencia your closer, but Keller is the guy for the majority of the season, and for me right now, that if I have to get somebody out in the postseason, he's in there. He's created his own problems too, and he did in the game on Monday. But then he got himself out of it, and you're like, Brad Keller, he always does it. So I don't want to be flipping on the pier like a bluegill and saying, well, Palencia, he had a little traffic today, but he got out of it. And Keller did do the same thing yesterday. I just feel the body of work gives me more confidence in Keller. And I think at times Palencia can get just a little bit rattled, just a little bit.
He's got some youth. It gets a little shaky. He will throw a ball back to the.
He's got more emotion.
He's got a lot of it that's built in there when he's on the mound. And look, I think sometimes when you do have a player that's having the season that Brad Keller's having, or a player that's come out of nowhere like Daniel Palencia, as fans, I think we jump a little bit too quick to start looking for cracks in Daniel Palencia's game. I think this conversation that we're having right now about Daniel Palencia is actually an incredibly positive one, because what we're sitting here and saying is that I feel really confident that we have 2 pitchers that can handle a 9th inning right now. I think we have, in theory, 2 closers, and maybe a 2.3 if you want to throw Kittredge in there in a pinch. I'm not doing that in a playoff game. But again, the fact that we're having this conversation because Brad Keller has been so good, isn't necessarily that I lack faith in Daniel Palencia. I just have more faith in Brad Keller.
Yeah, I mean, Pomeranz tonight was great. Theobar's been great this season. They're all in my triangle of trust.
Yeah. Aaron Savali, out of nowhere. Welcome to the club, man.
How about that? He was good.
Welcome to the club.
He was one of the unsung heroes of the Labor Day comeback win.
A lot of new faces since we did a show last. That's for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Savali was good. Carson Kelly. Before we go any further, we need to give him a nod. The Carson Kelly game was something else. They were down 6-1 to the Braves, and he comes up with the 2-run homer to tie it, and then the game-winning walk-off hit in the 10th inning. First homer since July 21st.
Like the desert missed the rain.
First extra base hit since July 23rd.
Shawshank gif.
Wow. That had to feel good. And then he was right back there batting cleanup for us today.
Yeah, because he deserves it. Because he deserves it. And look, like Carson Kelly, I think Cubs fans that maybe didn't get a chance to experience him before he was on the Cubs this year got a little blinded, got a little ahead of themselves, got a little, as we call in the show, a little on the Delulu of thinking that he was some sort of all-star amazing catcher. And he kind of blinded us for the first 2 months. I think the last couple months have been more reflective of what Carson Kelly is as a player. And again, I go back to it. He's had a hard time hitting fastball. What'd he do? He waited on a hanging slider, took it yard. In the 10th inning, also slider, poked it in the corner. So it was nice to see him at least square up on a ball that when you're not hitting the fastball, at least you're trying to get yourself in a position to, give yourself a chance, at least off a slider. Is this like is this the Carson Kelly renaissance? No, it's not. I think he's going to be very serviceable. Again, I prefer him at the bottom third of the lineup. And when we're talking about hot streaks on this team, we've gotten a really good one from Dansby recently. We've gotten a really good one from Ian Happ. I think those are far more sustainable than the Carson Kelly game flash that we saw yesterday. I hope he pops a couple more over the fence. I'm just not expecting the world based on the fact. But it was huge. It was great to see, and I'll also say, just as a team aspect, when you talk about trying to go deep into October, they haven't had a lot of fourth-quarter comebacks this year, the Cubs. Really nice to see that. It's just one of the ingredients that you want to bank on as a team, internal belief that, hey, we just did it recently, one pop and we're back into it. This happened in this sequence and instance. You always believe that you can come back into a game. Sometimes actual evidence, something that you can recall in a season, is really helpful. So it was great for Carson Kelly to do that because we haven't had a comeback in a long time. So, but I'm not saying Carson Kelly's comeback is going to be anything crazy.
Speaking of hot streaks, you mentioned it. Happer, 3 home runs in 4 games.
Yep.
Had 3 hits in the game on Labor Day. Dansby goes 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts tonight, but he has been great. Was hot on the road trip. And the defense tonight was spectacular. Looks like he's going to finish with 25 homers and play great shortstop again. So all the haters, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Is he a superstar player? No, he's a super defensive shortstop who has power for the position. It's not special power, but he's gonna hit 20 to 25.
Yep.
And he's gonna play great shortstop. Then I looked at Nico, and I saw Nico at leadoff, and he had a couple hits again today, and he's been hot almost the whole season, right? Except for overall power. And it's got us thinking because we've seen the slump from Happ. We've seen slumps from Dansby. We've seen slumps from PCA. We've seen slumps from Tucker. And pretty much everybody on the team's gone through it. Carson Kelly, we've seen the slumps. You can go down the team. So I ask you now, between the last 23 games of the season, who's the player in that group that right now isn't hot that you want to see get hot for these last 23 games? And just know that the follow-up question is, who's the player that you want hot after those 23 games?
Right. So
because we've got a lot of guys on this team that do the roller coaster. Sure, I'd love everybody to be hot 23 games from now.
Yes.
I'd like everybody to be I'd like to go back to the 10 runs a game Cubs.
So that's the
Who do you want hot? Who do you want to see get hot now And who do you want to see get hot right around 23 games from now?
My retort is, how do you like your hot streak, right? Because when you talk about Dansby Swanson, he's the king of hot streaks. I'll answer your question in just a second, but I'll ask the chat too. It's like, how long do these hot streaks last, and how many games do we got to play to get to October, and when do you want them hot is kind of the instructive lesson. Just really, really quick. Dansby Swanson, the king of hot streaks. In 2023 when he signed the team, we all remember this. He was hitting 500 after a week, right? Well, that lasted about 17 games. He had 338 in a stretch with 14 RBIs in 17 games. It's a good hot streak. 2024, he had 2 hot streaks. He had 24 games in September, 303 batting average, so about the span of how much we want this hot streak to be right now. Started 10 of 18 in that span, 4 home runs, 13 RBIs. Also had 11 for 34 where he hit 323 in 9 games in 2024. And now the last 7 games, Dansby Swanson, 8 for 25, hitting 320, 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. The guy that I want hot right now is already hot, and I need him to stay hot. It's Ian Happ. In my opinion, if Ian Happ can get hot right now, it can solve 2 problems. The first one is who's hitting leadoff and who's hitting cleanup. And I'm cool with either one. I said last week I like Ian Happ at the leadoff spot. He started there to begin the year. We got off to a great start. I'm kind of a bit of a ho-hum. Let's go back to what worked in the first place. If Ian Happ can get hot and hit either leadoff or cleanup, I think that can solve a lot of problems for this lineup, and other guys can fit into different roles. And let's be honest, to the PCA conversation, maybe PCA is a 6 or 7 hitter in this lineup, adding you a little bit of thunder, turning the lineup over with speed, and maybe Nico Horner's your 5th hitter. But if you're asking me, after 23 games, who do I want to be hot?
And one player in the chat, they're firing like multiple names.
Zaya.
These 3 guys need to be hot now, and these 3 guys need... No. One player for the next 23 games, and one player after 23 games.
Okay, next 23, Ian Happ. After 23, because of what happened to Kyle Tucker today, I'm saying Seiya Suzuki. Seiya Suzuki, when he goes on a heater, when he hits the ball hard, he is also either our 2 or 3 hitter in the lineup. He can do really special things, and he can absolutely punish the opposing pitcher. If you're telling me Kyle Tucker is either banged up or maybe Kyle Tucker comes back and he's the facsimile of what we've seen of Kyle Tucker the last 8 days, I'm not so much worried about him. I'm almost saying that he's a given. Seiya Suzuki, after 23 games, on October 2nd, if he gets hot, I think that could be a watch-out moment for the Chicago Cubs offense.
Calvin in the live YouTube chat agrees with you. Marcus says PCA. I don't know if that means for both. That could be an option, too. Could be the same player for the next 23 games and the same player for the postseason.
We're not here to stop hot streaks.
No, I'm not. But I just think realistically it's more likely that one would be hot for that stretch and then cool off and hopefully still be good when you get to the postseason. Cam says, Luke, I want PCA and Seiya to be hot now because I don't think they know how to hit anymore. Okay, that's a discussion. I think
where are you on this?
Well, the postseason answer for me is clear. That's Kyle Tucker.
Yep.
Kyle Tucker's got the superstar power. Kyle Tucker, if he's doing what he did, when he first came back from his time off, home run. That guy is a top 10 player in baseball, okay? That Kyle Tucker. That is the Kyle Tucker you want to see in a postseason. By the way, if he's lost any money, that's when he would make the money back. So I don't really care because, again, I believe the division is over as a pessimist. I don't care if Kyle Tucker is playing great baseball right now. As long as he gets healthy and ready for it, I want him hot in the postseason. That's where I want his hot. If he's going to be streaky, that's where I want his streak to happen. Now, you could make the same argument, obviously, for PCA or Seiya or Dansby or Happ. I just would rather see those guys get hot now than if you have any outside shot at the division, fine. But when I get to the postseason, that's when everything matters for me. Well, I want my best player. I want my superstar player. I want my 400, 500, whatever $1 million player you think he is. That's the guy I want to be the hottest and on an unbelievable tear when the postseason starts, because he can impact it more than anybody.
Can I push? So we did Tucker and Seiya, and a lot of people in the chat are saying PCA. Is there an X factor though for you? Is it Michael Busch? Is it Ian Happ?
Somebody said Busch,
Is it Matt Shaw continuing the offensive production that he's had in the second half, especially with the slug? Is it Carson Kelly? I mean, is there an X factor for you that says if this guy got hot, then all of a sudden maybe the lineup can look a little bit different?
Sure. I mean, it's a hypothetical question because we're on a podcast. So, obviously there's versions of this that still make the Cubs successful. If Tucker, Suzuki, and PCA are playing good but not on hot streaks, they're just kind of playing like near what they should be, and Ian Happ is on a crazy tear or Michael Busch is on a crazy tear, that's still going to work, right? Or I'd take all of them being good but not on a blistering tear. I would take that too. I'm just saying if I want one guy to be a superstar in the postseason, it's Kyle Tucker. Right now, it's not Tucker because he's got a calf injury, and so I would like to see PCA show some real signs of life here now. I also would like to see Seiya show some real consistent signs of now. Sure, I'd be happy if Dansby and everybody else continued that all season long.
You know what? Let's throw a little Willie Castro in there,
I'm just trying to make people nail it down to one person. I would say Tucker. Could I see that person in the postseason being PCA? Yeah, he's so electric. If the guy goes on a blistering tear, he's going to greatly impact a playoff series too.
Well, and that's what we're coming down to when the type of baseball that the Chicago Cubs have played over the last 6 weeks next to the type of baseball that they played the first 2 months. I think a lot of Cubs fans are sort of like with their arms up doing the shrug a little bit of like, when are we going to snap out of it, or when are we going to look like the team of the first 2 months? And can we chase down the division? Can we get the wild card? All that stuff. We're getting a little bit in the weeds to it, but ask yourself this, Cubs fans, with 23 games left, would you rather go 11-2 in the next 13 games and go 500 in the last 10, go 5-5, or would you rather go 5-5 in the next 10 games and go an 11-2 on the bottom?
Man.
And if you go 11-2 in the next 13, does that mean that you turned everything around and everyone's great and everything's hunky-dory offensively? Or does it mean that the last one you get hot and finish on the stretch? I think the thing that we learned about this Cubs team is neither of those things are going to happen. This Cubs team is going to keep winning 2 out of 3, right? And I'm sorry, but some people will have to live in that purgatory middle ground area of the Chicago Cubs team. But I actually believe that it is a really stabilizing, important force for this team that they don't get swept. And they don't lose 5 in a row. They don't lose 6 in a row. Sure, they don't win 6 in a row either, but when you talk about a playoff series and a team that can compete in October, that stuff matters a little bit. So it is a little bit stay the course. Kyle Tucker get healthy, and then hopefully some of these guys can turn it around and start to get hot. And hopefully it is Kyle Tucker coming back healthy. Hopefully it is PCA getting hot. We got 23 games to figure it out, and I still think that's plenty of time.
Sean Graves in the live YouTube chat says, saying PCA got to give you something because Council is going to continue to bat those guys top 5 in the order. Other teams will just pitch around Tucker if those guys aren't hitting. My final thought on this is also involves defense. If PCA is not the superstar hot player in the postseason, it's okay because he's still going to have a great impact defensively and running the bases. Nico Horner still going to have the impact defensively. Dansby Swanson still going to have the impact defensively. Seiya needs to hit, and Tucker needs to hit, right? So that's why I lean towards Tucker and some of the other stuff. But obviously, you would like to see all of them get hot for 23 games and continue it for about a month after that. That would be nice. That would be perfect.
And that tiny one to watch, if I can kind of nitpick just a little bit, over his last 5 starts, Shota Imanaga, 7 home runs allowed. The home run bug's catching him just a little bit right now. Hopefully it's catching him at the right time. Much like your kids dealing with strep right now. They get it right now, and then the rest of the way they can be healthy, right? The rest of the year. No problem. Smooth sailing. Hundreds of days.
You used to be so positive. Now you got me worrying about strep, spikes to the head, calf injuries.
This is what happens when we win. This is what happens. Yeah, this is what happens when we win. Shota was great tonight.
6 innings, 3 runs.
Home run bug's gotten him a little bit the last couple starts. Matthew Boyd, he's gotten batted around a couple starts. Perfect time for a little tuning up here. The next
Shota's going to give up home runs as long as they're solo home runs. Correct. That's the key. Cubs are able to hang on barely and win 4-3. They can go for the sweep and will. With Cade Horton on the mound tomorrow. We'll be here for the post-game show. Justin Roman's going to join me for the show, and we will be here, social media and everywhere else over the next couple hours. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota and Bet365. Again, the little handshake, if you could donate to Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America, we appreciate that. We'll be supporting them all month long. Cubs win. We will see you tomorrow night, hopefully after a Cubs sweep. Until then, don't forget, fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.